Hey guys, this is Drake again. I've been asked a question a few times, the same question about how I make the rooms for first person. The ones specifically that have never been in first person, that have only ever been the top down view from the original web game. So today I'm answering that question. As you can see, I'm here in my art program. I am a believer in using Clip Studio Paint because I think that it has some of the best tools for drawing. I know the original game was done in Flash and with vector art, but I decided to, for the sake of keeping everything 100% with Unity and its limitations, I decided to just do rasterized art. So, what I always do when I start a room up, and I have a few of these in the game that are completely custom drawn. What I always do when I start up is I start with a sketch. In my case, my main concern with creating a new room every single time is, does it fit in the world? Does it feel like it's part of the world? Meaning, is this artwork going to stand out, or is it going to blend in a way that makes it feel cohesive and like it belongs? And I think the box dimension is a perfect example of me making a room that belongs. The first thing to make sure it lined up was obviously taking a perspective from an old existing room. I ended up taking this from the gift shop because I thought it was a very, very good foundation. And I used that as my basis. As you can see, like, the corners pretty much line up. There's some extra little details that pop in, yes. But for the most part, I mean, even the portal lines up with kind of that perspective. And obviously, once I went from there, I started adding stuff in, like the portal, right? And so the portal is AS2 style. So it really only has line art and a couple basic colors, usually just a highlight and a shadow for each side. Obviously, you start with your line art, right? And you bring in your colors, your base colors, and that gives you a good foundation. And then you start putting in shade. So I started with the portal and the boxes around it, and then the floor. And the floor is where it really starts to come together. As you can see, it starts to feel like an actual room. The front boxes right here and the back boxes. Obviously, you can tell as well that these back boxes don't have any shading. And that's because since they're in the background and they're pretty small, keeping detail minimal is what's going to keep the focus on the foreground, and that's what you want. I mean, yeah, in this case, you do want some variety in where you're looking, so you're going to want to look out in the distance. So that's when I started adding these like really nice, dark, rich, deep colors in the sky to kind of add in some of that variety and I guess depth. So without trying to sound all fancy any longer, I think let's hop into Club Penguin Horizons and see it in a live format. So here I am in the box dimension. As you can see, we got Rookie standing here just kind of doing his thing, and he is searching for the orange puffle. He is very clearly just focused on that, and we won't bother him too much, but feel free to bother him a ton whenever you start playing this game. You may have noticed one thing. I noticed others who were creating artwork similar to this, they included that middle staircase, right, from the floor. But the problem becomes I needed a foundation for the penguins to stand on so that there was plenty of room. I didn't want to make the penguins, itty bitty on the screen. I wanted them to be large and look very nice and crispy, clean. I ended up making the decision to just scrap that center staircase. I felt like it wasn't really going to add much to the room. And that allowed me to turn this floor into pretty huge boxes that now have a lot more detail to them as well. So that ended up being the inspiration behind that. I thought it just made sense from a creative standpoint. But this just an example of how it goes from start to finish. As you can see, from going from the sketch, then being drawn in, and then eventually animated in Unity. All these boxes are animated in Unity. As you can see, they're floating at different rates. And yeah, it's going from sketch to live. So I'm not going to take up too much more of you guys' time. That was just an example of what we got. And as a bonus, I'll for anyone who's stuck around so far, I'm going to give you just a little bonus real quick. We're going to head inside to the beacon because I think that this is some of my favorite dialogue in the game. As you can see, this jetpack guy standing right here. He's doing his thing. Turn on some music, though, of course, because I want to listen to some music. And I'm just going to kind of let him speak for himself here. So yeah, that's just an example of Jetpack Guy and some of his dialogue. He's very serious. He is dedicated to his mission. So you'll catch all these penguins around the island at different times, and you can see there's the jet fuel that he's talking about. So yeah, that's just I just want to give you guys a fun little cute bonus. So yeah, that was that's all I got. I have literally nothing else for you guys. I want to show you guys literally everything that I have in store, but I don't want to do too much of that. I want to leave some surprises for you guys. So if you want, go ahead and post some questions in the comments, and I will try to make a video about each question, and we'll just kind of treat it like a forum. So without further ado, I will catch you guys very soon.